Good morning. Happy Tuesday morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. 50 whole degrees out here, which is better than it has been. Actually, yesterday and the day before were both pretty nice, but previously, the week before, it was mid to upper 30s. Getting out here. Yep. Shake it off. So, where to start? Where to begin? I think we'll start at the least important thing and move our way from there. Least important thing is Virginia Frank. Some people think that you can tone police a free speech advocate. I am a free speech advocate, and you cannot tone police me. And your offense is my humor. I laugh at you. If you get offended, I won't back down. I will simply mock you more. Virginia Frank's mom is so fat that I almost couldn't shag her last night. But I manned up and I did my duty and I had my way with her. Are you enjoying that, Virginia Frank? And then the pathetic, oh, if you're ever in Virginia, look me up and say it to my face. Well, that is just about the most intimidating thing anybody has ever said to me. If you're ever on the opposite side of the country, because I am offended with you, why don't you go out of your way to come find me, who's not even bothered to leave contact information, because I'm a keyboard warrior and I'm scary. Ooh. Anyway. He doesn't like, I don't know if you can see, he doesn't like those inflatable things. They had a cat for Halloween that moved. Oh God, he did not like that at all. Anyway, so now that I've taken care of the least important thing, let's move on. I want to talk about, so I got to thinking again about the Fort Huachuca Freeman case, because somebody was thinking that there was a hearing yesterday and I couldn't find anything. Maybe there was, I don't know. I couldn't find anything on it. No one else could either that I'm aware of. So I'm tempted to believe nothing happened, but I got to thinking about it again. And here are my thoughts in a somewhat random fashion. The 18 U.S.C. 795 law against filming or sketching a military installation, I think that would generally be a content restriction. It's not a time, place, or manner restriction. I think it's content, which would normally be strict scrutiny, and that would normally be fine. But I don't think that in this case it was applied as a strict scrutiny content restriction kind of way. Because they don't go after, they're not going after the Google van that has taken pictures from an almost identical place of the exact same things that Freeman was taking pictures of. So I think if they try to go after him with it as a content restriction, then I think they're going to fail, because they're trying to apply it as a viewpoint restriction, because they don't care that the Google van did it. And viewpoint restrictions don't fly. So it's fine if the Google van does it, but you're a First Amendment auditor, you can't do it. You protest against the government, you can't take a picture of our gate, but the Google van can. That's a viewpoint restriction. So I think they'd fail on that. So I think what it is, I think what they're doing is they're doing it under a forum analysis. He was on, this is the way I think it's going to go anyway, and your mileage may vary, and maybe these lawyers, the government lawyer appears to be an excellent lawyer, and I'm not happy about that. I would prefer the government lawyer to be some lame-ass loser, but I've seen his writing, and he seems to be pretty Johnny on the spot, so that's not good. Anyway, so I think they're going to go through a forum analysis. Under a forum analysis, if you're on in their forum, they can control what you do under the First Amendment, as long as it's, again, viewpoint neutral and reasonable. And you're going to say, well, don't you run into the same problems as you did under the content restriction? Because it's not viewpoint neutral. The Google van got to film, but Freeman didn't. And to that, I'm going to say the Google van wasn't in their forum, so they're not controlling what the Google van does because it's not in their forum. Therefore, their restrictions in their forum wouldn't apply. Can you see where I'm going on that? Now, why do I think that would fail? Well, I think there's a couple of ways to attack it. Way number one is it still has to be a reasonable restriction. And is it a reasonable restriction to prevent filming like that on the base? Because they probably have displays that you can take pictures of. They might even sell postcards that have the picture of the base on it, or the picture of the front gate. So is it reasonable? That's a good question, and I don't think the government has a rock solid answer to that. But the other way I think they fail is Grace, US v. Grace. If you remember back from US v. Grace, a prohibition against various sorts of First Amendment activities was enacted by Congress, which prohibited those activities on Supreme Court grounds. Now, the sidewalks are actually on the Supreme Court grounds. The sidewalks that border the street. And US v. Grace, the court held that that particular prohibition was invalid because you can't distinguish, the average person wouldn't be able to distinguish between a sidewalk owned by the Supreme Court that bordered the street, which is a non-public forum, and every other sidewalk everywhere that borders the street, which is a public forum. And James was on a sidewalk that borders a public street. He may have stepped an inch across onto the state, or onto the military base, which would have put him on a Grace sidewalk, in my estimation. So, if they are attempting to enforce 18 U.S.C. 795 in that manner, which, again, I don't believe is what it is intended for, but if they intend to enforce it in that matter, I think US v. Grace provides some substantial protection to Freeman, either to show the statute is unconstitutional, or that it's being applied in a manner that is unconstitutional. And finally, the third way is, as I alluded to, it's the one that has made the rounds many times. The prohibition against sketching military installations isn't against sketching bases. I know base and installation sound similar, but if you actually look at the executive order, which, because the president has the right to say what you can and can't sketch, that was delegated to the president to make those determinations, and he had an executive order. It was like 1040 something. I don't remember it exactly. But basically what he said was anything that is designated classified, secret, top secret, or restricted, I think. And what they're meaning by installations is like it could be the motor room of a submarine. It could be a special gyroscope in a plane. That is an installation. It could be a rocket testing facility inside of Fort Huachuca. It could be the inside of the communications room at Fort Huachuca. But it's a base gate, the gate that is exposed to the street and all the scrutiny of all the dash cams that go by it and the random people who walk by every day seeing it. That is not classified. That is not restricted, secret, or top secret. So I think 18 USC 795 is being misapplied. Now, as far as the trespassing is concerned, I don't know about that. I haven't really looked into it. I don't really care as much about trespassing on military bases as I do care about the First Amendment. So, really, I mean, I don't want to see James. I think it'd be pretty bullshit if he went to jail over standing on a sidewalk that looks just like every other sidewalk that happened to be an inch within the base grounds. I think that'd be pretty bullshit. But that's not as big of a concern for me as the First Amendment aspect, because just imagine the potential liability, criminal liability, or what have you, if, you know, someone who works on that base, you know, and his brand new bride want to take a picture in front of that gate, because this is where they met, you know, this is like you know how they do engagement pictures and things like that, and maybe they thought the gate would be a nice backdrop, and you're basically on the street, and it looks like you could basically do it, and then the next thing you know, they're getting arrested for 18 USC 795. Now, I don't think that non-asshats would have been arrested. I think most people would have gotten out of that situation just fine. James is notoriously passive aggressive and an asshat, notoriously. So, you know, I think they are making an example of him. But that's basically where we're at on that particular matter. And finally, the last most important bit of the day, what everybody has been waiting for, is set your secret decoder rings to Z5. Z5 is the setting for your code rings today. And make sure, if you are a paid troll, that you are at the paid troll meeting. It is mandatory. Like I said, donuts will not be provided, but we need to go over your W-2s. You have to, it's open enrollment right now for the health insurance. And if you wanted to sign up for any of the 401ks or profit sharing plans, now would be the time to do it. And also, there are a few odds and ends we have to go over for housekeeping. And finally, after we get done with all that boring stuff, there are future troll operations that we need to plan. So make sure that you come in tonight to the meeting wide awake and aware. Make sure you have your coffee ahead of time. Bring a notepad with you, because it might be moving a little fast, and I don't want to be repeating myself very often. We do have Becky from HR. She's going to be there, so I'm sure she'll give you her contact information so that you can get any further questions that you may have asked or may have to ask her answered. I don't want to take up too much time at the meeting. It's probably going to run long as it is. So thank you everybody for watching. Believe it or not, I do hope Freeman wins. I know some of my detractors out there think, "Ah, you don't like us." And quite honestly, right now I'm less than enthusiastic about the auditing community with the new penchant for filming kids in libraries. Filming libraries in general, I think, is pretty fucking retarded. Pardon my French. It's as bad as the spate of school filmings we had with Chauncey, and I don't know if you remember, but News Now Rapist, he went school filming. What was that, in Tennessee, I think? Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.